Right, President Trump and his administration are defending the Justice Department's indictment of former FBI Director James Comey. In a Truth Social post over the weekend, the president called Comey a, quote, dirty cop.
A dirty cop who helped get him elected.
Claimed FBI agents were happy. All you have to do is just
say thank you to him, I'm sure he'd
think. With the charges. He also thanked current FBI Director Kash Patel for his work on the case. The editors of the National Review called this, quote, the deeply flawed Comey indictment, and their piece reads in part this: the political animus that fueled the indictment against James Comey is bad, but it may pale in comparison to the incompetence of the Trump Justice Department's execution of the lawfare ordered by the president. This sorry place is where lawfare takes the nation. Trump has valid complaints that his political enemies, Comey included, abused the justice system to try and convict him, bankrupt him, and render him unelectable. But turnabout is not fair play. Turnabout is the betrayal of the president's responsibility to execute the laws faithfully. Turnabout is the president transforming James Comey into a martyr.
And make no mistake about it, that's what the president's doing. The president's turning James Comey into a martyr, just like he's made Jimmy Kimmel more popular than ever. Look at the guest list that Jimmy Kimmel has this week. It's the biggest stars in Hollywood, the biggest stars on the stage, the biggest rock stars, all going on Jimmy Kimmel's show, all because Donald Trump has made him bigger than ever before. And he's doing the same thing with Jimmy Kimmel. Turnabout is not fair play. And also, turnabout ends up only helping the person you are attacking. The National Review also features a new piece by contributing editor Andrew McCarthy, who says, quote, the indictment against Comey should be dismissed. And he writes in part this, quote, Andy McCarthy, Fox News' Andy McCarthy, the vindictive indictment the Trump Justice Department barely managed to get a grand jury to approve on Thursday is so ill-conceived, Andy McCarthy writes, and so incompetently drafted, Andy McCarthy writes, he should be able to get it thrown out on a pretrial motion to dismiss. The indictment should be dismissed because there is no factual basis for a perjury charge. And as Andy McCarthy says, because the second count, obstruction, hinges on the perjury charge. I'm sure Comey would rather have a jury clear him, but this baseless case should never see a trial court. And David Ignatius, we've heard the talk, again, from the right, from the left, from people who are on Fox News, from people who are on MSNBC, for people who write for the Wall Street Journal, for people who write for the New York Times, left and right, just saying that this is a bogus case and it is lawfare. The only intention is he wants payback and he wants to make Comey pay. And when you see people like the vice president going out there saying they're based on law, I mean, it's ridiculous. They know they're lying. And the question is, when they're promising more of this, where does it take the country? Where does it take the White House? Where does it take the Justice Department?
One other point, though, on Comey, Kate, this happened when Donald Trump was president. So if you're trying to tell me this is not politically motivated, the statement that they're referring to where he allegedly lied, Donald Trump was president. So why didn't you indict him then? The fact that he's indicting him now just makes it look even more politically motivated. And so I'm pretty confident that this will either be dismissed or Mr. Comey will be acquitted by a jury of his peers.
So, Joe, I think the reaction that you're citing from people on the left and the right to the Comey indictment shows that this really is, to an unusual extent, a direct political prosecution led by President Trump, who has openly called on his Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to pursue his political enemies. In this case, you had a very experienced U.S. attorney in Virginia refuse to bring the indictment. That person was fired. You had misgivings were told within all of the senior career people in that district against bringing the case. A novice was brought in who would present the indictment to a grand jury. By news accounts, her performance was what you would expect from somebody who had no experience, very unusual. And now you have Trump calling for further attacks on other political enemies, saying that he would think that there would be a Justice Department investigation of the person he appointed as the FBI director after James Comey, Chris Wray, a Republican who tried to do an honest and bipartisan job in one of the most difficult positions. So I think there is a sense among the attorneys I talked to that a line has been crossed, that people who are working in the Justice Department, working in the FBI, really do worry now that they are working in a politicized agency, an environment where the president goes after his enemies, demands that they be pursued. We're just not in the kind of orderly rule of law system that we expect rightly living in the United States. And I think the fact that this reaction is from both the left and the right means that people who are in the bar, part of law enforcement, may begin to stand up and push back. I hope so.
Let's get straight into this. Donald Trump's indictment of James Comey isn't about justice. It's about revenge. Trump has never hidden his hatred of Comey, and now he's using the Justice Department like a personal weapon to settle old scores. Think about what's happening here. A grand jury indictment should be based on facts and clear evidence, not on political loyalty tests. But Trump has pressured, fired, and replaced prosecutors until he found someone willing to play along with his game. Even seasoned attorneys who looked at the case said that it was just flimsy at best, yet Trump just pushes forward anyway because he wants to humiliate Comey, essentially. That's not how a justice system is supposed to work in a democracy. It's how authoritarian regimes operate. And here's the irony. By going after Comey like this, Trump is turning him into a martyr. Even conservative outlets are calling the indictment sloppy and ill-conceived. Instead of weakening Comey's legacy, Trump is elevating him, just as he has accidentally boosted the popularity of his other so-called enemies. Well, this is the exact opposite of smart politics, but he's still trying to attack him. And what's worse is the precedent it sets here. If a president can direct his Justice Department to prosecute political opponents without any kind of solid case, where does this kind of thing stop? Today it's James Comey. Tomorrow it'll be any journalist, activist, or official who dared to challenge Trump's narrative. That's not draining the swamp. That's drowning the Constitution in it. At the end of the day, the indictment reveals more about Trump than it does about Comey. It shows a president ready to weaponize the law and put personal agendas above national security. That is the real danger. This indictment also sends a chilling signal to anyone working in the government today. Loyalty to Trump matters more than loyalty to the law. Prosecutors, FBI agents, and judges now have to wonder if refusing to bend to him could cost them their careers. This is how institutions rot from the inside out. The law becomes less about impartial justice and more about loyalty and survival under political pressure. Once that line is crossed, normality doesn't return easily. This is not just one man's vendetta against James Comey. It's about the erosion of every safeguard meant to keep a president of the United States in check in a functional democracy.